Okay, let's talk about AI coding assistants. Because, picking one these days, it's not just grabbing a new tool. It's a huge decision. It's pretty much defining how you're going to be building software for the next few years. So, we're going to break it all down. Let's navigate this crossroads together and figure out what's the perfect path for you.
So here's what we're going to do. We'll start with the new coding landscape, get to know the big players. Then we're diving deep into what actually matters. We're talking price, power, and privacy. The goal? To help you find your perfect AI sidekick. And then, we'll peek into the future to see what's coming next.
All right, to really get a handle on this whole market, you've got to understand this one key thing. It is basically split right down the middle. And I'm not just talking about a bunch of different brands competing. No, this is way bigger. We're talking about two totally different philosophies about how AI should even work with you. So on one side of that split, you've got your plugins. These are the tools that just slide right into the editor you already know and love, like VS Code, super easy. But on the other side, you've got these AI-Native IDEs. These are brand new applications built from the ground up, completely centered around AI. So that's the big choice right there. Do you stick with what's familiar and get that seamless integration, or do you jump in feet first for what could be maximum AI power?
Now, when you talk about AI native, pretty much the first name that pops into everyone's head is Cursor. And for good reason. I mean, it's a fork of VS Code, so when you open it up, it feels just like home. But don't let that fool you. It's been completely re-engineered with AI at its very, very core.
So what's all the hype about? What makes it so powerful? Well, for starters, people who use it say its auto-completion is magically accurate. Seriously. Then there's this thing called Composer, where you can literally just tell it in plain English to refactor a whole chunk of code. And it just does it. It even has an agent mode that can handle complicated multi-step tasks all by itself. The real magic, though, it's how it understands context. You can just use an @ command to pull in files, documentation, even whole websites. It's incredible. But, and there's always a but, right? There is a catch.
And that but is a big one. This quote right here, it really nails the core issue with Cursor. Because for all of its amazing power, there's this one thing that causes so much frustration and anxiety for developers. And you know what? It has absolutely nothing to do with the tech or the code. It all comes down to the price tag.
Okay, so this is where that anxiety comes from.
See, Cursor doesn't have a flat fee. It uses a usage-based credit system. What does that mean for you? Well, if you have a really productive week and you're using it a lot, you can just blow right past your monthly limit. Suddenly, you're looking at unpredictable bills. It puts this little nagging worry in the back of your head, which is the exact opposite of that creative flow state these tools are supposed to help you get into.
So if that credit system makes you a little nervous, and for a lot of people it does, what are your other options? Well, I think the best way to look at the competition is not just as a list of different products. It's better to think of them as three totally different philosophies, three different paths you can take. Okay, path number one, we'll call it the standard. This is GitHub Copilot's territory, where everything is about predictability and just working smoothly. Path two is the contender. Think of tools like Windsurf, which are trying to go toe-to-toe with Cursor on pure raw power. And then there's path number three, the fortress. This is where you'll find tools like Tabnine. And for them, it's all about one thing, hardcore, uncompromising security. All right, so we've got the three philosophies laid out. Now let's put them to the test. We're going to see how the top tools stack up against each other across three crucial battlegrounds. We're talking price, power, and privacy. Let's get into it. You know what's really wild to see is just how fast everyone else is catching up. I mean, GitHub Copilot, it's not just a fancy auto-completer anymore. They're rolling out agent-like features, really closing that gap with Cursor. And then you've got newcomers like Windsurf just going all in on being agent-native from day one. Even JetBrains AI is carving out its own space, positioning itself as like your reliable senior engineer in a box. The whole field is leveling up, and it's happening fast. Hey, remember that billing anxiety we were talking about a minute ago? Well, look at this. You can see the dividing line clear as day. On one side, you've got Cursor and Windsurf, sticking with those unpredictable usage-based credits. But then look at the established players, GitHub Copilot, Tabnine, JetBrains. They all offer a simple, flat monthly rate. And let me tell you, that predictability, that's not just a nice little feature. It's a massive competitive advantage. Okay, now let's talk about something that can be an absolute deal breaker, especially for any kind of team or enterprise, security. And this is where that philosophical split gets really, really stark. You've basically got the trust us, your code is safe in our cloud model from most players, and then you have Tabnine's approach. Their whole thing is your data never ever leaves your network. They offer on-premise and even fully air-gapped deployments. For a lot of companies, that's not just a feature, it's a non-negotiable requirement. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Price, power, security. So after all that, what's the verdict? Which one is actually right for you? Let's break it down by a few common scenarios and find your perfect AI copilot. All right, first up, the solo developer or freelancer. For you, it really just boils down to one question. How much do you hate unpredictable bills? If you want predictable, high-quality value, GitHub Copilot is your best bet, hands down. But if you're chasing that raw AI-native speed and you're cool with the whole credit system thing, then Windsurf is a really powerful option to look at. Now, what if you're running a small team or a startup? Here, ease of management is everything. You don't have time for complicated setups. GitHub Copilot Business is great for this, with super simple per-user pricing and easy-to-set policies. And hey, if your whole team is already deep in the JetBrains ecosystem, then their AI assistant is an absolute no-brainer. The integration is just seamless. And finally, the large enterprise. Let's be honest, at this scale, the conversation almost always starts and ends with security. And in that arena, Tabnine is the undisputed champion. Their deployment options for keeping your IP safe are just unmatched. Of course, JetBrains AI and SourceGraph are also really strong contenders, offering very solid enterprise-ready solutions. So that's the landscape today. But man, this market is moving at lightning speed. The tool that's on top of the world right now might not be the leader 6 months from now. So before we go, let's just take a quick look at the horizon and see where this is all headed. I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that we are leaving simple code completion in the dust. That's old news. The real destination, the endgame here, is what you might call true agentic autonomy. Just try to imagine this. An AI that doesn't just suggest the next line of code. No. An AI where you give it a high-level goal and it plans, executes, and completes the entire project all by itself. And that brings us to one last really big question. Think about it. We started this whole conversation looking for an AI copilot, a helper. But as these tools get more and more powerful, as they evolve into these truly autonomous agents, you really have to stop and ask yourself, is your next coworker even going to be human?